K9 dog blocks girl at pickup what he since left all stunned. It was a warm spring afternoon in Redwood Creek. School had just ended at Redwood Creek Elementary, and kids were pouring out of the front gates, their backpacks bouncing as they ran toward their parents' cars. Laughter and chatter filled the air. Officer Derek Navarro stood near the entrance, sipping from a travel mug. Beside him sat Onyx, a large black Belgian Malinois, still and alert. Onyx wasn't just any dog. He used to be a police K9 trained for tracking and crowd control. Now retired, he spent his days helping patrol the school, watching everything with calm, sharp eyes. Most kids thought he was just a cool school mascot, but Navarro knew better. Onyx could sense things people didn't. Navarro scanned the pickup lane, keeping an eye on traffic and kids. Everything seemed normal until he noticed a girl slipping out the east side gate instead of the front. It was Lena Cho, a quiet fourth grader with a bright purple hoodie and sunflower-shaped hair clips. She usually waited by the main gate. Today, though, she headed toward the back fence where some cars were parked. A white cargo van sat at the curb. Its engine was running. The side door was open. A man stood next to it, waving. "Lena," he called, smiling. "Your dad asked me to pick you up today. He had an emergency and couldn't make it." Lena stopped. Her eyes narrowed. She didn't recognize the man. He wore a baseball cap pulled low, sunglasses, and a plain brown jacket. He looked like someone's uncle, friendly but unfamiliar. "My dad didn't tell me," Lena said, hugging her backpack tighter. The man chuckled and took a step forward. He probably forgot. "Busy day, right? I've got a note from him." He held up a sheet of paper, but it was too far for her to read. Lena didn't move. Her fingers dug into her backpack straps. Something didn't feel right. Then Onyx's ears twitched. He stood slowly, his eyes locking on the van, the man, and then Lena. He growled. A deep, low sound that rumbled from his chest like thunder. Navarro turned toward Onyx. "What is it, buddy?" Before he could finish the sentence, Onyx surged forward. His leash pulled tight in Navarro's hand. His growl turned into sharp, loud barks that cut through the noise around them. Every head turned. Kids, teachers, and parents froze. Onyx barked again, louder. His whole body was tense, protective, like a shield standing between Lena and the stranger. The man's smile disappeared. "I didn't do anything," he shouted, stepping back toward the van. Navarro was already moving. "Sir, step away from the vehicle." The man's eyes darted toward the driver's seat. Then he made a run for it. "Wrong move," Navarro muttered. He unclipped Onyx's leash. Onyx shot forward like a bolt of lightning. Within seconds, the man was on the ground, face down in the grass, Onyx's front paws pinning his shoulders. Navarro reached them, pulling out his cuffs as backup arrived. The crowd behind the gate stayed silent. Teachers led the kids away. Lena was quickly brought back into the building by a school counselor. Inside the van, officers found something disturbing. A second phone with no service plan, but still connected to public Wi-Fi. On it were photos, dozens of them. Some showed random parks. Some showed kids walking. 3 photos were of Lena, one taken last week, one taken that very day, and one zoomed in from behind a fence near the playground. Navarro's stomach twisted. This wasn't someone helping out a friend. This was someone pretending someone watching. Back at the front gate, Navarro looked down at Onyx, now calm and sitting by his side again. "You saw it before anyone else," he whispered. The man in the van, later identified as Silas Trent, had no connection to Lena's family. He had never spoken to her father. He had simply gathered bits of information, her name, her routine, and used them to build a fake story. That night, Lena's dad arrived at the school, pale and shaking. He had once posted on a neighborhood app asking for help with pickups when he had to work late. The post had included Lena's name, grade, and what she usually wore. He had no idea someone like Trent was reading. But thanks to Onyx's instinct and one perfectly timed bark, Lena went home safe. And everything at Redwood Creek Elementary was about to change.
After the man in the van, Silas Trent, was arrested, the news spread fast. Parents at Redwood Creek Elementary were shocked. They had always felt safe in their quiet town. Now, everyone was scared and confused. How had someone like that gotten so close? Principal Granger called for an emergency meeting with all the staff. She looked tired, but her voice was strong. "We need to rethink everything," she said. "Pickup procedures, gate access, and even online safety." That same day, Agent Maya Alcott from the FBI showed up. She was tall, serious, and carried a laptop everywhere. She met with Officer Navarro in a small room near the school office. "What we found on Trent's phone," she explained, "wasn't just about Lena. There were pictures of other kids, notes, routines, times. He wasn't working alone." Navarro leaned forward. "You think it's part of a group?" "Possibly," Alcott replied. "We're seeing similar patterns across other towns. These people share information, like how to approach kids, what to say, even where to park." Navarro felt sick. He had dealt with bad people before, but this felt different, sneakier, slower, like a trap being built piece by piece while no one noticed. Meanwhile, Lena was quiet. She didn't cry, but she stopped talking to most adults. She no longer walked to class by herself and stuck close to her teachers. But with Onyx, she was different. Every day she would stop by Navarro's office, sit beside Onyx and just pet him. No words, just calm. One afternoon, Lena brought a bracelet made of rainbow string. "It's for him," she said softly, slipping it over Onyx's collar. "So he knows he's my friend." Navarro watched as Onyx leaned into her touch. He'd never seen the dog so gentle. Over the next week, Navarro and Alcott worked together more often. At first, they clashed. She trusted Data, he trusted his gut, and Onyx. But when they dug into Trent's background, they found a locked flash drive hidden in his garage. With help from a digital team, they unlocked it. What they saw made both of them go silent. It was a list. 24 names. Each name had a photo, a school, and notes like, "Walks home alone on Tuesdays. Dad leaves early, no adult at gate, always exits through East Side." Each child had been studied, watched, just like Lena. And then Navarro saw a name that made his heart drop. Marisol Navarro, his daughter. She had gone missing 10 years ago. They never found out what happened. He stared at her photo. Same pink jacket, same backpack with music note pins. Her name was number 12 on the list. He stood up and walked out of the room, fists clenched. Later, Alcott found him sitting on a bench outside, Onyx lying at his feet. "I didn't know," she said gently. "She was part of it. This whole time," Navarro said, his voice low. "I thought I lost her because I messed up. But it was this. People like Trent, people who blend in." Alcott sat beside him. "You didn't mess up. You just didn't see it coming. None of us did." Back at the school, things were changing fast. New fences were added, gates stayed locked, staff wore safety badges. Parents now needed written approval to pick up anyone else's child. A few even started showing up early just to watch the pickup lane. The kids noticed too. They asked more questions, they stayed in groups. Some were scared, but most felt safer with Onyx around. He had become more than just a patrol dog. He was their protector. One boy drew a picture of Onyx standing on a mountain with a speech bubble that read, "Not today, bad guy." Principal Granger held an assembly. No long speeches, just a quiet thank you. Onyx sat at the front, calm as ever. A gold tag was added to his collar. It read, "Protector of the Pack." That night, as Navarro walked the school perimeter with Onyx, he looked toward the dark street beyond the fence. "They're still out there," he said. Onyx didn't bark. He just stood still, ears high, nose twitching, watching, waiting. And that was enough. The town of Redwood Creek had started to feel calm again. It had been almost 3 weeks since the arrest of Silas Trent. Parents felt a little safer. Lena was smiling more. Onyx still did his rounds every day, walking the school perimeter with Officer Navarro. The sun was shining and kids were back to talking about recess and snacks instead of safety drills. But Onyx didn't relax. One Friday afternoon, as the last bell rang, something felt off. Onyx's ears went up, his body tensed. Navarro followed his gaze. Across the street, a black pickup truck sat parked. The engine was off, the windows dark. No one got out. Navarro frowned. "You see something?" Onyx didn't move, he just stared. Then the truck pulled away, slowly, like it had been watching. The next morning, Navarro checked the school's security footage. The same truck had driven by 3 times that week, always slowing near the east gate, always circling the block. "No license plate match," Navarro told Agent Alcott. "No parent record, no delivery logs." That's not good, she said, eyes narrowing. Let's put eyes on the school, quietly. That Monday, the FBI placed 2 surveillance teams nearby. No one told the teachers or students. They wanted to watch without raising alarm. 3 days passed. Nothing happened. Then came Thursday. At 2:41 p.m., as students lined up for dismissal, the black truck returned. This time it parked right outside the crosswalk zone. The driver didn't get out. Instead, he held up his phone and pointed it toward the school, filming or taking pictures. Onyx growled. Navarro stepped forward. "I need a tag check. Now," he said into his radio. Before dispatch could reply, the truck's engine roared to life. "Go!" Navarro shouted, unclipping Onyx's leash. The dog took off, barking furiously. The truck tried to speed away, but Onyx was fast. He lunged at the back door handle. The truck swerved and slammed into a fire hydrant. Steam and water exploded into the air. The door flew open. A man jumped out and ran. Navarro chased him. Suspect on foot. Black jeans, grey hoodie. Onyx in pursuit. They ran through yards, over fences, down a narrow alley, but Onyx never lost him. By the time Navarro caught up, the man was on the ground, trapped between a dumpster and Onyx's snarling jaws. "Easy," Navarro said, cuffs ready. "We're doing this by the book." The man's name was Jared Klein, age 39. He had no criminal record, no kids, no job, but his phone told a different story. Inside were photos, recent ones, of Lena. One taken that week near the lunchroom window. Another from behind her house. "I never touched her," Klein said in questioning. "I was just watching, gathering info." Agent Alcott didn't believe him. "You weren't gathering info," she said. "You were building inventory." That hit Navarro like a punch to the gut. Klein wasn't connected to Trent directly, but his phone had message threads from other usernames tied to the same dark forums. He had taken notes on other schools too. One file was titled Soft Pickups Week 3. It wasn't random. It was organized, a system, and Klein was part of it. "This isn't just a group," Alcott said to Navarro that night. "It's a market. They trade tips, they study weaknesses, they watch routines, and they talk to each other without ever using real names." Navarro stared at the wall. "And we only found him because of Onyx." The next day, Lena's dad was called to the station. When he saw Klein's photo, he went pale. "He came back?" he whispered. "After all that?" "He was still watching her." Navarro nodded. "We think he never really left. He just waited. Hoped we'd forget." But they didn't forget. Not Onyx, not Navarro, not anymore. That evening, a special staff meeting was held at the school. Principal Granger stood beside Navarro and Agent Alcott. "We're all tired," she said. "We all want to move on, but we can't let our guard down. We have to stay awake." She pointed toward Onyx, resting quietly at the back of the room. "He didn't let go," she said, "and that's why Lena is still safe." The school had faced danger twice, and both times it was a dog's growl that saved them. But they were learning, and this time they weren't just reacting, they were ready. After Jared Klein's arrest, Redwood Creek Elementary changed even more. What started with one scary moment turned into something bigger. A mission to protect every child, not just Lena. The school installed new safety systems. Every visitor had to check in with ID, and each gate had cameras. Parents had to update pickup lists weekly, and staff watched carefully during dismissal. No one complained. Everyone understood now. Safety came first. Officer Navarro trained a group of parent volunteers for a new watch squad. These parents took turns helping during pickup and drop-off. They weren't police, but they were alert and ready to report anything strange. Agent Alcott stayed in town longer than planned. The FBI was now tracking at least 7 more suspects across nearby counties, thanks to what they learned from Klein and Trent. The files found in their devices helped protect children in other towns, some who never even knew they were being followed. At school, Lena was getting better. She still didn't like to be alone, but she smiled more and talked more, especially when Onyx was nearby. One morning, she walked into Officer Navarro's office with a small box wrapped in red paper. "It's for him," she said, placing it gently on the floor near Onyx. Inside was a handmade collar tag. It was shaped like a heart and had silver letters that read, "Thank you for barking when I didn't know I should be scared." Navarro felt his throat tighten. He knelt down beside her. "He'd do it again," he said. "I know," she whispered. That same week, the school held a quiet assembly. No reporters, no cameras, Just students, teachers, and staff. Principal Granger stood on stage with a plaque in her hand. "This is not just for what happened last month," she said. "This is for what Onyx continues to do, for staying alert, for protecting us, and for reminding us to listen when something feels wrong." She turned the plaque around. The words read, "One bark saved many." The room filled with soft applause. Onyx didn't bark or wag, he just sat still, his eyes scanning the room. That weekend, a community gathering was held at the park near the library. There were lemonade stands, safety booths, and even a Thank a Hero dog pet station. Families brought their kids and many wore shirts that said Team Onyx. When Navarro and Onyx arrived, people clapped. Kids cheered like they were seeing a superhero. One little boy handed Onyx a drawing of him standing on top of a mountain with the words, "You stopped the bad guys." Even Mayor Keller came. He handed Navarro a small gold badge shaped like a shield. "For Onyx," the mayor said, "guardian of Redwood Creek." Navarro bent down and clipped the badge to Onyx's vest. That night, as the sun set, Navarro and Onyx walked their usual route along Oak Street. The sky was orange and purple. Birds flew low across the trees. "You changed everything, buddy," Navarro said softly. "Not just for Lena, for all of us." Onyx didn't react with excitement. He just walked, calm and focused, as always. Back home, Navarro poured himself some coffee and sat on the couch. Onyx rested by the door. When Navarro opened the local paper, a small envelope fell out. It had no return address. Inside was a card with only 3 words, written in a child's print. "He saved me." Navarro didn't know who sent it, but he knew what it meant. There were other children, other moments, other times where a dog's bark had made all the difference. In the weeks that followed, other schools reached out. Some asked how they could start their own canine safety programs. Others shared close calls they had stopped after hearing about Onyx. People were paying attention now. And still, every morning, Onyx showed up. He walked beside Navarro, watched the gates, and scanned the streets. He didn't care about medals or plaques. He just cared about the next child, the next danger, the next bark. On the final day of school, the students wore fun shirts and silly hats. Lena wore a shirt that said, "Onyx is my bodyguard." As she left with her dad, she knelt beside Onyx one more time and whispered, "You can take a break now. Okay, we're safe." Onyx licked her hand gently, and Navarro, standing nearby, felt something quiet and powerful settle in his chest. The world had changed, because one dog had listened when no one else did, and because of that, the silence would never win again.
Subscribe to our YouTube channel, Love Tales of Tales, for long, heartwarming pets and animals, love stories that stay with you long after they end.